Yo, Headliner Nation, I've got a super quick video for you today, and it's not really breaking news because it happened a few days ago, but we really need to address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the running backs. Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, and Saquon Barkley all were looking for long-term deals after having the franchise tag placed on them this offseason, and none of them were able to get a deal done. Now, the debate is raging on right now about how the running back position has been devalued, and that is a different argument for a different day. For fantasy purposes, we need to discuss who potentially is holding out and who their backups are going to be. So before we talk about who we're drafting as a handcuff, let's decide if we're even going to draft any of these guys anyway. Right now, Saquon Barkley typically has the highest ADP, going anywhere from the mid to late first round. But I wasn't really on Saquon Barkley before this whole situation popped up, and this is just another reason why I wouldn't be investing in him for 2023 anyway. And of the three running backs, Saquon Barkley has been the most vocal when he has been using terms like holdout or not reporting for training camp. And I think there is a part of Saquon Barkley who is saying, you know what? I'm not running back out there. I've dealt with some injuries in my career already. I've been utilized in this offense. I want to get paid. So does Saquon Barkley show up before week 1? I highly doubt it, and I think a holdout could linger into the season. Tony Pollard is next up with ADP, typically seeing him go at the end of the first round. Now, Tony Pollard probably has the highest upside of any of these three running backs, and he's the one that I actually feel would be the most likely to show up and play even if he doesn't get the long-term deal. Now, the main reason for that is because he hasn't had a chance to be the guy yet. He's always been Zeke's backup, and now he's going to get potentially a full season to showcase what he can do, and I think that he would like to have that tape heading into next year, even if he doesn't get a long-term deal done with the Cowboys. But his biggest question mark is going to be his health. At this point, if he doesn't have a long-term deal, there is no way that he plays or touches a football until he is guaranteed at 100% health. So both of these guys in the first round definitely can't do it right now. Josh Jacobs probably has the best value of any of these guys because depending on what format you're playing in, he's going anywhere from probably late second to mid third round. But in terms of holding out for an extended period, I also feel like Josh Jacobs could end up being the guy to do it the longest. I mean, the Raiders really haven't given him a reason to show up and play. They heavily utilized him last season after not picking up his fifth-year option, and then when he absolutely goes off, and he was really the key cog in that offense last year outside of Devontae Adams, he's not getting paid for what he feels like he did. So I highly doubt he feels like he owes the Raiders any type of favor at this point. So realistically, he's probably saying, listen, if I don't get paid, I'm not coming in. Now, I also do believe that he may be the most likely to hold out the longest, but also show up before week 1. And at the end of the day, especially depending on what happens with Jimmy Garoppolo, because remember, the Raiders have a clause to get out of his entire contract if he isn't fully healthy by a specific point in time. If that were to happen, then they have some extra money where they say, you know what, maybe it is worth giving Jacobs a 2 or 3 year deal. All right, with all that being said, let's take a look at backups and handcuffs now and try to decide which is going to be the guy we want to go after. And again, we'll shoot at Saquon Barkley first. No, I didn't just magically change clothes. I actually had to record this section a second time because after I got done with it and prior to releasing, the Giants added James Robinson. Now, I fully believe that people are going to get a little too hyped up on James Robinson and think that he will be the starter. But honestly, he's just depth right now. With the words that Saquon Barkley keeps tossing out there about holding out, I think the Giants just want to play it safe. If I had to pick any guy on the depth chart right now, it would still be Matt Breida. This is his second year in the offense, and he's the most familiar with the scheme right now. He was also the primary backup last season too. So if Barkley's holdout potentially goes into the regular season, I believe they start with Breida. Now, that doesn't mean that at some point, James Robinson doesn't become the starter, but I think by then we're looking at a multi-week in-season holdout where James Robinson would have to outperform Matt Breida where it mattered most. If we're just looking to kind of hold us over or to handcuff Saquon Barkley, Matt Breida is still going to be my guy. For the Cowboys, it's Ronald Jones, Malik Davis, and then Deuce Vaughn. Now, Deuce Vaughn probably has the best opportunity to take over in the main pass catching role. I think the guy that gets the most touches on the ground, though, is going to be Ronald Jones if Tony Pollard doesn't play. Malik Davis got some touches here or there last season, but he doesn't really have the track record that Ronald Jones does. And listen, I know we're a Say No to Rojo channel, but he's had some decent fantasy production at times. And in Dallas, I'm sure that he could be at least worthy of a stash late. So if I was going to go for anybody that's a backup right now to Tony Pollard, I would go ahead and shoot for Ronald Jones first. Now, the Raiders get a little bit more interesting because the name Amir Abdullah is going to pop up once again. And I know the Abdullah truthers out there have been waiting for a breakout for years now. But you also have Brandon Bolden and last year's 5th round pick, Zamir White. Now, I do believe that Amir Abdullah would be the first guy up. And he's somebody that you would see probably get a little bit of work in the passing game and probably a little bit of work on the ground. But I think the same thing could be said for Zamir White. Honestly, there isn't a clear-cut backup here to me. I think this will be a full-fledged committee if Jacobs doesn't show up. Now, if you were saying Kyle, absolutely, just throw a dart for me real quick. If I had to pick one person, my heart kind of says Abdullah while my head kind of says White. So I'm going to be honest with you. I can't throw a dart here. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is a potential free agent signing because you've got guys like Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette, and Kareem Hunt who are still available right now. And I think the Raiders would benefit the most from one of these guys. And I guarantee any of them would be more than willing to accept a one-year deal. And of course, if that happens, it'll change the landscape of things. And of course, we will cover it here on the channel with breaking news. And then our draft guide will absolutely be updated for rankings, player profiles, everything, so you know exactly what to do in your drafts. But Headliner Nation, this was just a super quick video for you to kind of cover some of those questions that we have been getting. But if for some reason this is your first video on the channel that you've seen, hit the subscribe button and check out everything else that we do. This was just kind of quick top layer analysis, but the depth that we go to on this channel is absolutely unmatched and you won't get it anywhere else. And of course, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Let me know who you think out of all the backups I listed you most likely would be to draft. And of course, as you head out, stay safe and stay healthy, Headliner Nation, and I'll catch you all on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.